So metaphysical misconceptions are what we're going to demystify, and we're going to begin right away by first making you aware that the moon basically is no more than a woman than a male. And so I have to demystify and explain again why a lot of beings see the moon as feminine, but I also have to prove by clear facts that the moon is not feminine. This is meaning that not only limited to being feminine, and how the secrets about the feminine, and that's why most, they're just always off when it comes to the divine feminine. The secrets about this are actually encrypted. As you know, last week, I believe we talked about that G in the middle of the square encompassed with Freemasonry. And we talked about how that G means hidden. The word G, as you know it, because it's a word, not just a letter, but that means hidden in occultism. And what is hidden is the genie. Okay, this is why in the movie Aladdin, which is an extremely occult Freemasonic movie, Aladdin, the Arabs, Aleppo Lodge, 100,000 Arabian Nights, all of that's real stuff. Sinbad, Aladdin, Aha, Abracadabra, all this stuff is real stuff, but it's put in a different context to make it seem like a game for a specific reason. But the reason why I have to make sure that we're aware that when we refer to the moon as a female, that we're actually referring to a hemisphere. We're referring to a hemisphere of the moon is the facts that in these ancient cultures, as you read, you realize that the moon is actually in the ancient cultures a male. The more recent cultures see the moon as a female, but the older cultures see the moon as a male. Nanar Sin is a male in the older cultures, right? The moon's name is Sin in the older cultures, S-I-N or Nanar. And Nanar is seen as a male or a king. But now we're in this time, and I'm not sure what name they're going to give the moon today, but we see it as a female, refer to it as a mother. And that is because there's been a pole shift. A literal switch in hemispheres in the overall consciousness, which affects all other consciousness. So an adept knows, no matter how much we may grin at others that make different statements, because statements are sometimes true. When you say the moon is a woman, that is true, but it's not only a woman. And anybody that wants to argue that out, good day. You'll have a long time with the moon goddesses, I'm telling you. But if you understand what's happening, you understand that in occultism, as an adept, you know that the moon is the mind. That's why they say the mind is the womb. The womb of the mind is the woman. I think a brother was rapping at one point when they were still building on knowledge. And so the mind is the moon, but this is the mind you're in. As the Kaibalion consistently tries to state, and what is wind, which is the biggest mystery of them all? Where does it come from? It is thoughts. Thoughts are the metaphysical thoughts are in this reality what we call the wind. You don't know where your thoughts are going. And sometimes you don't know where your thoughts came from, because that's a part of the hidden and that's a part of the mystery. Okay? And that is encrypted in this G or this genie, also known as the jinn. Okay? Which is a very universal term. Like saying a jinn is like saying a human. You haven't actually broken down anything except for like a small subset. You haven't said if it's a white human, black human, tall, rich, poor, half angelic. You haven't totem, leopard. You haven't said anything when you just say human. So also when you just say jinn, you haven't really said anything, because there's a world of numerous beings out there. Why? Well, for the simple fact that we're immortal. I would think that most people should hope that we're immortal. You're all afraid of death, but I'm here to tell you that you are immortal and other beings are immortal. Now, the word immortal actually really refers to actually having consciousness when you pass beyond into certain zones. So it is more specific. It doesn't just mean that you'll live on, because everything lives on. Immortal is actually more of an aware of consciousness after you've moved on. And that's what that word was originally designated about. But again, the adept knows that the moon is the woman. The moon is the mind. The mind is the woman and the man. Okay? Because our minds have a masculine and a feminine and a neutral. So the moon is actually really more of an androgynon than it is in anything else. But if we want to move beyond such rudimentary integers, the male, the female, the androgynon, come on, we're living in an entire complex, literally, of multiple energies that go beyond even those rudimentary values. So when we're saying the mind and everything in the mind, we're talking about everything in the flesh. And that's why I was saying before that what is known as the divine feminine is everything that is in the flesh, even if we think it's a male. So a male in a human body with skin is technically feminine because you're in a vessel predominantly, because the flesh is feminine, car or carne. Those are all references to feminine and also references to also fire. Okay.